Hey, good morning, guys. It's good to be back for the Paul show. And this was possible due to your generous donations during Sasha and I. We did the Daylight Dispatch. Thank you so much for supporting us. That was so much fun. I do appreciate that. I look forward to doing that show with Sasha again this Thursday at 11 a.m. And because of your support, we'll be doing the Ramsey Paul show again tomorrow at this time. And I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all your support. A couple of announcements. I always do stuff first, again, today is Monday, May the 12th. I hope you guys all had a great Mother's Day. And this week, just to remind you of the schedule, today we have the Ramsey Paul show. I also put out a video. Tomorrow there'll be another video out public, and we have our roundtable. And if you want to be part of the roundtable, it's a great community. It's on Substack. Let me just put this out here for you. So you guys, if you haven't, I encourage you guys to sign up. It's a way to follow me and keep abreast what is going on. And so Tuesday we have our roundtable, and Wednesday I have the Wednesday wrap up with Z-Man. That's a lot of fun. We have a great show together. Our dynamic is just getting better all the time, I think. And this week, based on a suggestion by Zoom Gadget, he said, how about making an episode with Z-Man about South Africa? Because this is in the news. Trump has taken in some white South African refugees because whites are targeted now under Black South Africa. And this is making all the shitlibs mad because they want the whites to suffer under there. And so I talked, we should talk about South Africa, maybe Rhodesia, apartheid, what happened. Because you remember the idea was it'd have a rainbow nation and everything be wonderful once they got rid of apartheid. But it turned out just what people like me suggested would happen. South Africa would devolve back to the jungle, a one-party communist state. That's pretty much how they are now, with a lot of violence. So I think that is a possibility. And we're going to have a great show on that tonight. So be sure to watch that. And we're on YouTube, we're on Rumble, and we're on X. So I do appreciate you watching on all of those channels. And I already got a super chat. I got a super chat. So thank you much for this. Hang on here. Let me just go back here. And I'm having an issue with one thing, and I'm going to tell you. I got a super chat from Windukind. Do you think Letitia James will go to Alcatraz? That'd be great. Letitia James is that corrupt district attorney in New York. And in our sphere, we know about her because she targeted VDARE. They were ahead of the curve. Now everyone really wants to stop immigration. I'll show you a story. Even Britain is talking about closing their borders. But VDARE was ahead of the curve before it was popular, and they got attacked by everyone. And VDARE, they incorporated in the 1990s, in New York, and even though they're based in West Virginia. And in hindsight, that was a mistake to put their corporation there. But they didn't know, because back in the 90s, talking about immigration, no big deal. But now Letitia James, she's a Black woman, obviously real radical, anti-white. She doesn't like what they talk about. So she's been attacking them and their corporation through lawfare. That's one of the ways the government does it, to try to shut down free speech. And she basically won. They had to shut down because they couldn't afford all the expense with that. And so Letitia James was also in this, trying to prosecute Donald Trump. So I do hope they go after her. I would love to see her sent to like El Salvador or something. It's kind of funny. Now, Alcatraz, I don't think Alcatraz is really going to be opened again. I know Trump talked about that. But Trump, I swear he probably was watching Escape from Alcatraz, and he thought, it'd be cool if we opened that prison again. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to open Alcatraz. It closed in 1963, the year I was born. So it's been a long time. And they closed it because it was just too expensive to maintain. I've been to Alcatraz, not as a prisoner, but as a tourist. It's a big tourist attraction now. And it's kind of cool. It used to be prior to a prison. I think it used to have a military base there. It's in the San Francisco harbor. It's a pretty location, but it's a lot of, obviously, seawater there. It's very corrosive to the buildings. It's expensive to maintain the facility. And they had to ship everything to the little island. And it just wasn't practical to keep it open. And they said, we can just have a more modern facility on the mainland for a federal prison. We don't need Alcatraz, even though it seems kind of cool. The idea, it just wasn't practical anymore. So I know Trump wants to reopen it, I guess just for the coolness factor, but it doesn't really make sense financially because Alcatraz just brings in a lot of money now as a tourist destination. And to get it up to code now and everything, it costs probably billions of dollars to try to get back as a working prison. And what for? You can make a cheaper prison on the mainland. So, but yeah, I do like the idea of Letitia James being arrested. It's long overdue. And hey, thank you for that. And I want to tell you another thing because I'm not really quite sure what is going on here. But YouTube, I have SuperChats. Rumble, I have Rants. And then I have Powerchats. I used to say Streamelements, but I got a notice this morning that I'm going to be banned from Streamelements for a terms of service violation. I have no idea why. They never give specifics. But I don't know if it's real or not. They said I will in 24 hours. And then it said, "Hi, Paul. Thank you for reaching out to us." I never reach out to them. "This is just a quick message to acknowledge that we have received your ticket." I never submitted a ticket. So I don't know if there's a scam going on or what, but it's suspicious. So today, do not give the Streamelements. I'm not really quite sure what's going on with Streamelements. I could be banned because you never know about these things. It's weird because I thought we're behind all this cancel culture, especially under Trump. We're having a period of more glasnost, more openness like the Russians had. I was thinking we had some more openness. But I don't know. Who knows? But so Streamelements, I didn't get a lot of contributions ever from Streamelements. I just used it a lot because it interfaces with YouTube so I can look at my super chats. So it's not like a huge big deal. It just kind of pisses me off though, because you don't know what you did. I don't really do anything on Streamelements except occasionally they have a tip feature there. And I will read the tip. It works the same as Powerchats, and I'm fine on Powerchats. And I would say 95% of my donations come through SuperChats, Rants, or Powerchats, and only 5% went to Streamelements. But I used their dashboard just so I could see everything in one place. So it's kind of sucks if I am getting banned on there, and they won't tell me why. It's just this, we shouldn't have to live like this. We really shouldn't have to live like this. This isn't the way America was supposed to be. And it's a way you get feeling good because Trump's in there and there's more openness and people can speak more freely now. But you have to understand the left, they still have control over the institutions and they want to shut down all discussion. You see this in Europe. They're trying to shut down the AfD. They arrested Le Pen. I think Eva, that girl in the Netherlands, they arrested a Dutch politician because they didn't like his views. So, this is worldwide. We are facing a lot of censorship and persecution, honestly. So I really appreciate you guys standing with me. But and so I don't know. I'm hoping this is an error because I never submitted a ticket. But maybe they screwed up. So supposedly by tomorrow, I'm going to be off of Streamelements, but we will see. I'll give you an update tomorrow. But for now, don't use Streamelements. Don't use the tip feature. And I'm going to take that off as an option until I verify if maybe it was just a error, but I'm not really quite sure. So who knows? So that was kind of a bummer. Not because I get a lot of money from it, but it's just more of it feels like a kick in the stomach always when you're supposed to be in a free country in America and you see how dark things have become, both figuratively and literally. And they're kind of related. As it gets more dark, literally, figuratively, it gets dark too. And it just saddens me to see this because all I do is discuss the news and stuff. And there's a lot of evil people out there that control a lot of the finances. You saw what they tried to do to Donald Trump. These people need to be purged 100%. And by any means necessary, I don't really give a shit about them. I've really become more hardcore that way. It's either us or them. They need to fucking get out of here and go. They need to pay the price. So sadly, that's the way it is. So I'm not going to really dwell on that too much. But for today, if you want to support the show, Powerchat, YouTube, Super Chat, or Rumble, Rants. That's the way to do it. So don't give to Streamelements at this point. And speaking of which, I already got a Power Chat from Kim. He's a friend of mine in Finland. Hi, Rams. What's the point of changing the lock if no one can find your property? This was from yesterday, a session I did, Night Owls. It's up on Rumble and YouTube and X. And I was saying yesterday, my front door, my house was built in 2008, and it's a nice house, but the front door handle is broken. And so I had to work on it yesterday. I'm going to have to get a new device to replace it. Now, the lock still, deadbolt is on top. That still works fine. And the bottom handle didn't have a lock because I just used a deadbolt. But it got sticky, and then it's just messed up in there because I think over the years it got corroded. So I need to install a new, front door lever, whatever you call that. I shouldn't be that hard to do, but I need to go to the hardware store and get that. It just happened yesterday because it's really sticking. And so it's okay now. It's just always, I just use the top lock. But what's the point of changing the lock? Well, I'm not changing the lock. I'm having to replace the door handle. And if no one can find your property, yeah, I mean, I do still lock up though, even though when I'm out of town or I'm not in the house, it's just a good process. But I don't leave my cars locked or anything like that. And it is a very low crime area where I live because there's basically no diversity. It's just rural. And so that's what I do with that. So thank you, though. I do appreciate that. And we will see here. Let me just see here see where I am here. Yeah. So yeah, right now I'm still on Streamelements. Who knows? Maybe it was a fake thing, but I think it's probably real. So probably tomorrow I'll be banned on Streamelements for an unspecified reason. It's so bizarre. You have no idea why. All right, we'll get into some of the news now. Oh, I always forget to put this, but it's always handy to do this. If you guys want to write me in real life, I have a P.O. box, and I appreciate all your comments and stuff there. Here we go. And this is, I just got yesterday in my P.O. box. I'm going to read this book. It's pretty cool. It's one of the guy who watches my show. Corbin Douglas, he wrote Death Cruise, and it looks pretty good. So I just got it yesterday, so I will definitely read it. So thank you, Corbin, for that. All right, let's just see now. Let's get into the news. What is happening here for the past day? All right, we'll take a look at some of the market stuff first. I think one of the big news is the whole tariff situation. I've commented on that. It's been very confusing, really, what Trump's policy is with tariffs. But the U.S. is set to cut the tariffs on Chinese goods from 145% down to 30% for a period of 90 days. So Trump implemented, you remember the Liberation Day, all these tariffs based on our trade deficit with countries. And then that really hit the market bad, the stock market. And Trump explained, his reasoning that we need to bring jobs back to America because it helps the workers, but it also helps our national security. And he explained all this stuff, the reason for it, and we could generate a lot of revenue. So that was kind of one of the reasoning behind it. But then even then he quickly changed it to basically made every country a 10% tariff. So it was all over the map, except for China. He was like in this trade war with China, and he just raised it to 145%. And the problem is we get a lot of stuff from China, so it can hurt us, it can hurt China. And what would happen with all the stuff we get from China? It could result in inflation or shortages in the United States. So they've been negotiating with China, and as you see here, we've reduced it to 145% down to 30%, at least for 90 days. And they're talking about a trade deal. And as I said here, I'm not really sure what Trump's vision was, if he really knew. He initially said this was going to be the new way going forward because we want to bring factory jobs back to the United States, and we want to make sure we can produce things for national security. And this could help it bring in revenue. So if we get into all this revenue with tariffs, we won't have to pay as much income tax, maybe even eliminate the income tax. Remember that? We can eliminate the income tax. That'd be cool. I was skeptical, but cool. But now he's but because the market didn't like it, the stock market didn't like it, he's been since then kind of backing off this policy. So I don't know if he just got cold feet because of the stock market and decided to back off, or was this all just some 4D negotiating ploy to try to get other countries to open their markets to us? So is Trump a free trader at heart, saying, hey, I'm willing to get rid of all tariffs if you countries like China, you eliminate your tariffs, we'll get rid of ours, and I'm for free trade? That's a way you could go, but that's not, I don't think, a good way, because then we're going to have the same problems of jobs going overseas where it's cheaper to produce things. And then we won't have the manufacturing here. We won't have the security we need, for shipbuilding, microprocessors. The stock market would like that, at least initially. So I'm not really sure what Trump's long-term goal here is. And we'll have to see what he does on that. So that is the stock market. All right. And then today, I did a video about this, and be sure, I'm finally growing again on YouTube. It's like every month I was decreasing for years because I'm shadow banned on there. But if you could, I'm finally starting to grow a little bit. And so thank you. So be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and Rumble. But I did a video about this today. This is he was saying he's going to have a big truth post, and that what this is for the drug industry, for the pharmaceuticals. And this, as I said in my video today, it's a little bit complicated, but what Trump wants to do is through Medicare, and Medicare is huge. There's like 50 million people on Medicare in the United States. Medicare was set up as for older people, 65 or older, but there's some people that are on Medicare because they have disabilities too. So it's just not old people. There's other people on it. And it's different. I always get Medicare mixed up with Medicaid. I've never been on either, but Medicaid, I think, is if you're real poor type of thing, they put you on that. But Medicare, so like if you're Letitia in the ghetto, you're on Medicaid. But if you're old, you're on Medicare. But it's a big block. And when it comes to prescription drugs, obviously when people get older, they tend to take more drugs. They have to, because they have diabetes, or they have high cholesterol, they have heart issues, you name it. I mean, young people take a lot of drugs too, but even more with older people. So it's a huge market for the pharmaceuticals, the drug industries, right? And it's one of their biggest buyers of the drugs. And there's two types of drugs in Medicare. They Plan B as in boy and Plan D as in dog. I don't know how they came up with those terms, but Plan B drugs, they're the drugs you take that are real expensive. Let's say for cancer treatment, you're diagnosed with cancer. So you're 80 years old, you get cancer, and you'll get some drugs to take for that. And D is just more of your, like, my high cholesterol or my blood pressure medicine. So how Medicare reimburses you or how they pay it, it kind of differs based on the plan. But from you as an old person, how it typically works, Medicare, it's not free, but Medicare typically covers like 80% of everything. And then you have to pick up 20%. It's kind of a simplification, but that's basically what it is. Now, a lot of old people, they have what they call supplemental insurance in addition to a Medicare, which will cover more. And it's not that expensive. It depends where you live. But one of the big expenses has been prescription drugs, obviously. And one of the big questions is, why are drugs so expensive in the United States when if you go to Canada or Mexico or Britain or Japan, they're like half the price or even the quarter of the price? It's just crazy, the difference. And a lot of people, there's a whole industry of people will go down to Mexico, for example, and get the drugs they need and then come back to the United States because it's so much cheaper. Same with Canada too. So what Trump is doing now is, when they negotiate with these pharmaceutical companies, Medicare, they're going to say, well, how we're going to pay you? Because what they used to do now is they just had the average of all the drug companies in the United States, surprise, and that's how much they would pay for, plus 6% to the medical provider. But now what they'll do, Trump's executive order, no, what you're going to be paid is based on the average of all the nations, at least the first world nations. So if you have a drug, let's say for cancer treatment, and it costs $1,000 in the United States and $100 in Canada and $200 in England, $50 in Mexico, they're going to average all that out. And Medicare basically is going to say, this is all we're going to pay for a drug company. We're only going to pay for this amount. And the first thing you're thinking of is, well, wait a minute. So if you're a drug company, there's a couple of things you could do. Number one, you could say, no, screw you. We're not going to sell it that cheap. They could do that. And if that would happen, and if you're on Medicare, your insurance, your Medicare is not going to cover for most of the drug price. You're going to have to pay the difference, which would be devastating. But that's unlikely to happen because these drug companies, they don't want to lose. I mean, this is their biggest customer, Medicare, so they probably won't do that. But that is a possibility. The more likely possibility, though, is that they're not going to allow the foreign countries to get such cheap drugs. They're going to charge foreign countries, let's say the National Health Service in Britain, they're going to say, okay, our drug now, we got to raise our prices because we can't screw the American consumer anymore because of Trump's policy. So this is going to be good for the American consumer, but it's going to be bad, if you're overseas, because drug companies will probably charge those countries more for the drug. And the other argument is that drug companies, they do a lot of research, and the reason they have to charge Americans so much is they spend billions of dollars researching a new drug. It's only like 12% come to market. So it's a real risky thing. They do a lot of research, then it fails in trials. So they lose $1 billion down the drain. So they said, we have to charge a lot here to recoup our investment. And then because other countries, they won't pay that, they get it cheap. And as Trump is America first, that's like, no, you're screwing those other countries. We're not going to play this anymore. So there's a fear that maybe research will be cut back. I don't know. I doubt that much it will, because companies still want to get new products. But that's one of the fears that you'll hear. Now, so I think this is a good thing. It could be difficult to get it through Congress, though, even though Trump's doing the executive order, because the pharmaceutical lobby, they spend a lot of money on congressmen. I know we talk about the lobby, Israel spends a lot of money on politicians, like my Senator Tom Cotton, he's owned by Israel. But there's other senators that are owned by other interests, like the Lockheed Martin military industrial complex, or the pharmaceuticals. They own a lot of congressmen. Our congressmen and senators, that's the trouble in a democracy. They're just whores. They sell themselves out to the highest bidder. So, yeah, that's the situation we're in now, and it kind of sucks. But there'll be a lot of pushback. But this could be an important thing, and we could see lower prices for medication. And the idea is that it could help others, not just Medicare, because the big insurance companies and they negotiate with the pharmaceuticals, and they'll say, "Well, wait a minute. If Medicare is just paying you $100 per pill, that's all we're going to pay you too." And so you're a drug company, you're in the business of selling drugs, and if you could still say no, we're going to still sell it at the high price. But if insurance, Medicare doesn't cover it and private insurance doesn't cover it, most people won't be able to take the medicine, and so they won't be able to sell it. So they will have to adjust their price. So I think Trump's plan is actually a good plan. It's going to be interesting though to see how uh, the Democrats try to oppose this, because it's you would think it's, there's so many people that just hate Trump no matter what, that they'll just oppose anything that Trump does. So that's a possibility too. All right, some more on the economic front, and this is something that I think would America needs to earn about 70% more today than 6 years ago to comfortably afford a medium price home. This has been a real big problem. And even though I'm older, I I I want good things for Americans, right? That's even not just for me personally. So for like me personally, I'm for tariffs because I want to see American jobs here. I think it's going to make America in general stronger. Although for me personally, I'm out of the workforce. I'm retired. It doesn't make I don't. It probably makes it better for me if there's no tariffs, because then all the products are cheaper for me, right? And then I'm like, well, I don't have to get a job, so screw you guys. I get my low stuff, but I don't want to be that way. I want to be good what's for the company, not for the country. That's just not what's good for me. And the same thing is here with housing prices. I mean, I guess this is good in my situation because I own my house, and Sasha has her property, but it's not good for America that houses become unaffordable for people, young people coming up and wanting to start families. And this is a huge issue. There's a lot of reasons for this. Housing prices are getting out of control, but one is it comes down in many cases to supply and demand. If you have a big supply of houses and the demand's not high, then the prices will go down. But if you have a high demand, a lot of people wanting houses, and there's not many houses available, then this, price will go up. And this is where immigration is hurt, because we're increasing the supply of people that need houses. So if we reduce immigration or actually kick people out, that should lower the demand on houses. That will lower the price of houses. Again, I own a house, and a lot of the older boomers own their house. Oh shit, my housing price is down lower, and they get mad about that. I never understood this. I know this one person that in their 80s and just really excited about the price of her home, right? Uh, because she owns it outright. But it's like, I want to ask her, but are you planning to sell it ever? And it's like, well, no, I'll probably die here. I'm like, well, what difference does it make then? It's a lot of this is theoretical, right? I don't look at a house. I never have. Some people look at it as a house as an investment, meaning I guess you want to flip it or something. But for most people, it's where you live. So the housing price is somewhat irrelevant. And in fact, some ways it's bad, because the more your house is worth, then they start increasing your property taxes and so forth, and insurance and all that. So unless you plan to sell it, really, what difference does it make? It's kind of theoretical at that point. So I would like to see things to help housing. And there's other problems with housing, like they need in some areas they don't approve new housing, like San Francisco. That's why it's so high. There's just no new houses, and or they have super regulations, so it makes it very expensive to build a house. So there's a lot that goes into it. But I would like to see, this really is a key thing that I would like to see Trump to work on, to try to improve that, because that is not healthy for our country if young people can't get into homes. Let's see here. So that was sort of the economy, and this is a topic I'll turn to immigration that Z-Man and I are going to talk about this Wednesday night. So guys, turn in. The woke left is melting down that white South Africans are gaining refugee status. This is on Reddit, and there's only like 50 refugees. And there's a couple of things that have been said about this. One is, well, you're okay if they're white, but you wouldn't want them in if they're black. I'm like, yeah, because they're more compatible. They're not going to cause troubles in our country. Yeah, right. You got it. That is a big reason. Now, why apologize for it? And I don't care about skin color, but you don't want people to come in here, start violence. That they won't integrate into your society properly. Yeah, that's a big factor of it. But it also makes the left upset because their idea that South Africa was going to be their utopia, rainbow woke liberalism, rainbow colors where everyone lives in harmony and peace. And in South Africa, that's not the case. I've known white South Africans. It's like living in a prison. The crime is out of control. The white farmers are sometimes straight out murdered and the government doesn't really care. Huge corruption. It's the idea is that you could get rid of a white run society, and their thesis was, well, get rid of apartheid. When the black Africans run everything, it'll be just as good, if not better. It'd be a better place, and that has to happen. It's got worse, as was predicted. But the people predicted it would get worse. Oh, you're just racist. But we see the results now. And so it's a very dangerous place to live if you're white in South Africa. And I would like to try to get the white people out of there and just allow the black South Africans, just let them be and let them go to the logical conclusion and don't send any aid, just let them do their thing. But they really upset us taking in refugees because it shows it shows that the lie to their theory of how it should be. And that is, they're really seething about that because according to them, that's not the way it should be. So yeah, that is a thing. And the problem is we've imported a lot of Africans, not white South Africans, but this is Minnesota. This is just really crazy. This is the mall, and let me just show you. Sorry about that. I had that. And I'm going to turn the volume off because I don't want any. Here we go. This is the mall in Minnesota. Minnesota. You would think you're Somalia because these people are all from Somalia. And Minnesota used to be like a 95% white state. There's a couple of white people looking on like, my God, what is happening here? And it's just very, very sad what has happened due to mass immigration. And it doesn't make life better for us. I don't care about Somalis. I'm fine doing what they want. I'm interested in what makes life better for us. And this has been horrendous. And we see that happening there. So white South Africans coming in, I have no problem with that. I think that will be good. And speaking of which, other countries, even I couldn't even believe this. I thought, is this a troll? But we're seeing like what VDare advocated that made Letitia James go after them. Let me just show you this here. This is the UK Prime Minister Starmer, who's Labour, so that means left wing. We're ending Britain's open borders experiment. So number one is, for years when we talked about open borders, the people on the left would deny that's the case. Oh, there's no open borders. That's just a right-wing propaganda conspiracy theory. Well, it looks here, the UK Prime Minister, they were admitting they did open borders, and it was an experiment. Well, wait a minute. An experiment is something just really small and controlled, right? So if you're going to do a diversity experiment, what you should do is maybe on some little island somewhere with 100 people, Like, okay, we have 100 white English on this little island. We're going to import a bunch of Africans, and we're going to do an experiment. We're going to do an experiment to see if this actually does make the place more vibrant and rich, because that's what the left said, right? You import all these Africans and Muslims into an area. It's just going to, wonderful foods. It's going to boom the economy. It's just going to be a lot better place to live. All right. Well, an experiment by its nature is you do it small scale. That's an experiment, and it's not widespread implementation. So you have this little island. Okay, there's 100 white people here. We're going to do an experiment on them. I don't know if that's ethical, but we're going to do an experiment on these 100 white people. And then you bring in all these Africans and Muslims, and you can see. Then you could do data, and you could ask the white people, is your living standard, has it really improved, right? I mean, it'd be like going to Minneapolis, and ask the white people there, hey, you were here in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, 90s when it was all white. Is it improved now since we put in all these Somalis? I mean, we just get your opinion, because the United States government is supposed to work for the interests of the citizens, right? Shouldn't we ask the citizens, do you think this has helped you? But in an experiment, you do it at small scale, and then you would see if this is working or not. And but this isn't an experiment. This has been the whole nation they did this to. And the problem when you don't do experiments is, how do you back out of it? Now, if you're in the lab and you're doing an experiment and the experiment fails, you just throw away the results of the experiment. But what do you do with the whole country? You're just going to throw away all the people here? I mean, how many lives have you destroyed? You destroyed your whole country. Oops. It's not much of an experiment, but that's the words he used, experiment. For too long, businesses were actively encouraged to bring in lower paid workers rather to invest in our own people. Well, it's interesting here. Already, they're saying that the prime direction is these evil capitalist businesses. They want to bring in people that are cheaper to hire than English people. So they're very careful not to make this an ethnic or racial thing. And if they do try to make it ethnic, what they do is they blame the Poles, because there's been a lot of Polish people immigrating into England for cheaper labor. And so that's a safe group, because they're white and you can attack them. And you don't have to worry about being called racist. And if you get called racist, they all pee their pants. So this is how they usually structure it. And you see this in the United States too. If people sort of in the center or left want to criticize immigration, they don't want to criticize it based on my criteria. My criteria is I wouldn't even care if it helped the economy. It doesn't. It hurts the economy. But even if it helped the economy, I wouldn't really care, because my prime thing is, this is our home. I care about my culture. I want to walk in a city without crime, that's not trash, without poop on the streets, without people twerking on top of cars. I want the Norman Rockwell painting. And a lot of America was like that. I want that, Christmas, walking hand in hand with your sweetie. Everything's all beautiful. You know the scene. I don't want to see like a Somalia there. That's not what I want to see. I don't want to see what we saw in that last video I just showed you. So that's my reason. It has nothing to do with the economy. But when you get some leftist types or even libertarians that may oppose it, they're like, oh, we can't make it about race, or no, that's too dangerous. I might get in trouble. I know. We'll make it the greedy capitalists want to save money and get in cheaper labor. That's the reason. Well, that is a reason, but that's not the primary reason. And they said, we're fixing the system and restoring control to our borders. Well, you guys had control over it forever. Why haven't you? Why'd you allow it to be open? And here's how. So now they're planning to try to fix the borders of illegal immigration into Britain, which is a good thing. But it's one of those, this expression, you close the barn door after the horses already fled. It's an old expression in rural America. Yeah, it's like closing the barn door after the horses already ran off, right? It's a little late then, right? You need to close the barn door before the horses can run off. Then you keep them in the barn. Once they run off, it's a little late to close the barn door, right? What good is it going to do then? The horse is already out. And this is part of the problem with immigration, that all these people are already in. And we're seeing the problem here in the United States is like, how the hell you get them out? That's what Trump is fighting. Actually, to stop them getting in is pretty easy. Trump was able to do that within 1 day, just based on various executive orders and enforcing the border. Illegal immigration has stopped in America. And in Britain, they could stop it like in 1 day too. The problem is how do you get these people out of the country? And that's been very difficult in America because of these judges that want to destroy us and so forth. And the people that are our enemies, they understood this. They understand we just need to get them in, and then it's going to be impossible to get them out. And then eventually they're going to vote Democrat, and then we can eliminate whiteness in this country, and we won't have any more white homelands, and that will make us safe. No more Nazi Germanys. I mean, the whole thing. This is their idea. And so they understood that. Once you get them in, they did this. So that's what it is. I got a super chat. And remember today, guys, because my Streamelements may be going away. I don't know. Because they said I'm going to be banned in 24 hours on Streamelements. But it's weird because then I got to say, oh, we got your ticket. We're looking into it. I'm like, I never submitted a ticket, but who knows? Will U.S. Representative LaMonca McIver be jailed for assaulting and pushing, slapping ICE agents? She should be. I don't know if she would be. I haven't seen that. But yeah, you're not allowed to hit. You're not allowed to hit anyone, right? And so they need to, I think, this is Windu Ken. By the way, the super chat. Thank you, Windu Ken. She should be. We shouldn't tolerate violence. I mean, this is non-political. On either side, you're not allowed to conduct violence on people. Super chat from let's see, Randy, UK Prime Minister, they took our gerbs. Yeah. But yeah, getting back to this. So I think England, even Labour, and again, they hate white people. They're starting to figure out, oh shit, if we keep importing all these people, this country is just going to be a third world shithole, and we're not going to be able to try to boss around like Russia and everything else. And it's always it's the dynamic of how you not kill the goose that lays the golden egg, but you want to give the golden eggs to everyone. And so it is interesting that they see the problem that diversity hasn't really been the salvation as people claim it is. So yeah, that is pretty crazy about that. So thank you for that super chat there. Yeah, things must be getting bad in England if they're going to do that. I said, otherwise they want to do this. Oh, take a look at this. Take a look at this. And this is Starmer again. And again, he's Labor, shit lib, anti-white, the whole bit. And he's saying, if you want to live in the UK, you should speak English. That's common sense. So we're raising English language requirements across every main immigration route. And as I said, things must be really getting bad in England for them, a left-winger, to suggest that. It really is crazy. Because remember, Trump did that. We have an English language as official language of the United States now. But for years, people, let's say like VDare would say, if you're coming into the United States, you should understand English. Oh, you're racist. That's racist. They keep saying that. And now this is, one of their guys saying, hey, you should learn the language. Well, and that's just common sense. Because what is a nation? A nation is a group of people that have a shared ethnicity, that have a shared culture, shared language, religion. Maybe not exactly, the same, but this was a Christian country, English speaking, white Europeans. There was the black slave population, about 10%, but that was America. That was America. And that's what a country is. It's just not a hodgepodge of random people showing up. Otherwise, you don't have a country anymore. You just have an economic zone. And I think even shit libs are starting to understand this. And that's a good thing. So things must be really bad in Britain for Starmer to advocate that. All right, here's something else in Britain. I just found this amusing. And again, I like British people. That's my ancestry. I'm English and Scottish and Welsh, a little Irish, but these stories come out every once in a while. They never, as a guy that lives in Arkansas in the South, these stories I find hilarious. I don't understand Brits, how sensitive they are to the heat, right? So UK households told to stay indoors, shelter in place, stay indoors, whatever you do, don't go outside, you'll burn to death. So for 4 hours on Sunday, for 4 hours, don't go out there, man. Don't go out there. If you do, you'll die within seconds. We're warning you. As temperatures soar, right? Sunday is said to be the hottest day of the weekend, with temperatures in London and Manchester expected to be hit 26 Celsius, with parts of Liverpool and Birmingham, I think Birmingham, that's that Islamic city there in London, could see highs of 25 Celsius. 25 Celsius. And we Americans are like, what the hell's Celsius mean? I mean, we don't know. So I converted that. That's 77 degrees. That's 77 degrees Fahrenheit. So they are freaking out about it getting up to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. That's like jacket weather around here. 70 C's. Shelter in place. Don't go outside. You'll be burned to the crisp. Oh, come on, Rich. Really? 77 degrees Fahrenheit? That's beautiful. I long for those days. Boy, in the summer, it's a rare day in Arkansas in July and August. In fact, unless it rains, you don't see a day that's only 77 for the high. But anyway, they're just pretty crazy here. I got a super chat from K-Max McDonald's. Hey, thank you, K-Max. Rams, your view of Matt Walsh's tweet on the homeless population, how to keep them from disrupting polite society. What would Ramsey do or mandate? This is good. I think I might do a video about this. I thought about maybe doing a video about this. I have a couple of video ideas, but basically, we shouldn't have to tolerate bums. That's what they used to be called. We had vagrancy laws because they disrupt society. You don't want to see someone sitting on the street corner holding a cardboard sign. You don't want to see someone shooting up needles in their arms. I saw that years ago a couple of years ago. Someone shooting up literally on the strip. You don't want to see some bum pissing on the side of the wall. You don't want to see some crazy guy screaming. And when I was in Portland, was it like 10 years ago, some crazy black guy was on the street corner. Obviously, he was schizophrenic. Kind of reminded me now of Kanye. But he's just screaming about insane shit, right? We don't want to live that. That just lowers our standard of living to everyone else. And we shouldn't have these people out there because in some ways it's not fair to them. So the homeless is basically in three camps when I've researched it, right? You have your first camp, which is, the Skid Row. We've always had these types, kind of the hobo, alcoholic drug addicts. It's increased now because we become more permissive with drugs. They're starting to crack back on that. Places like Seattle, they legalized everything and they've started to walk that back. But so you have all these like fentanyl addicts, and then you have just your old school alcoholics, laying on the street corner. Well, that should be illegal. You don't have a right to be publicly intoxicated or public drug use. I'm not going to get in the argument private. I don't really drink much anymore, except for, maybe a special occasion type of thing or party. I'll have a glass of wine or something, but otherwise I don't drink. But if you want to get, have fun and get kind of drunk in your own home, I don't care. But if you're causing a problem on the street, yeah, I do care. Same with drugs. And I'm not going to get in the whole drug debate. Depends on what type of drug. But I don't want to see drug addicts on the street. So if you're a drug addict or you're drunk, you need to be arrested and put in jail. And either you stop that behavior or we'll just keep you in jail longer and longer. Maybe you get treatment. Hopefully that'll help you. But if it doesn't, you go in jail. So any of the drug addicts or alcoholics are on the street, boom, they go to jail. So they're gone. The second group are insane people. And this is what Matt Walsh was talking about. This is a sad situation because these people, they have, usually they're like schizophrenic, and schizophrenia is not because you had a bad childhood or you have unresolved issues towards your mother or potty training. It's not Freudian. Schizophrenia is a legitimate brain condition that you can see it on a CAT scan. So your brain is not working right. It's no different than if you break your arm's not working right. Yeah. So if you break your arm, the solution is not to go to see a therapist and talk about your feelings in your childhood. Your solution is to get a cast. And the same with schizophrenia. If you have schizophrenia, it's not therapy that's going to help it. You need medication. Simple as. A lot of people are off their meds. But we used to have insane asylums that we put these people in, mandatory, not just they don't have to agree to it. And it's really, I think, the humane thing to do, because number one, they're disturbing the rest of the society. I don't want to see some insane guy on the street screaming obscenities and talking to imaginary people. We don't want to see that. It just makes it's not a nice place to live. So number one, it hurts us, but it's also bad for him. I mean, it's kind of cruel to keep him out there because his brain's not working. So put him in the hospital. If he doesn't want a tough shit, put him in the hospital. Now, we got away from that because that movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, because, it's being abused. We just put people in insane asylums for no reason. Well, that may have happened, and you need some controls on that. But for the most part, they're there because they need to be. It's a real problem. So they should go in insane asylums. So the crazy nut that's screaming on the street, he needs to go to the hospital. Get the paddy wagon, padded, put him in, the guys with the white coats, and put him in a straitjacket, and he could go scream about his imaginary people away from us, and he could be sheltered properly, because it's not fair. They're not sheltered properly. He can be fed and everything. And the third is the component. So you have the druggies, drunks, first component. The second component is insane people. Third component, you may have people that are down on their luck because they made poor financial decisions, whatever. And actually, I don't have a heart of stone. I don't think anyone should starve or be left in the elements, or, you should be able to access to basic food, basic shelter. And I would have shelters, government-run shelters that provide you. So you got a roof over your head, and you got some basic food. It's nothing great. You want to stay there forever, but it's a place to lay your head, and you got a cot, and 3 hots on a cot, right? So you get your 3 meals a day, even if you can't pay for it, and you got your cot to sleep on, and you keep warm. I think that's fine, but you have to go there, and then you can work, try to get a job, get your life together, whatever. But you can't hang around the street begging. Begging's illegal. So I don't want to see a fucking cardboard sign up. No. You go to the shelter then. You get shit there. And if you keep putting up the cardboard sign, you go to jail. So if you did those 3 policies, you wouldn't have any homeless, and that would solve the issue. So that is my solution to that. And I think that's a big thing. So hopefully that will be it. All right. But thank you for that. KMX, and thank you, Randy, for your super chat, and also Widukind. He gave 2 super chats. Thank you very much for that. And I wanted to, and I got another row house here. And again, because I think I'm losing Streamelements, just don't send any tips to Streamelements. Trump getting close to what we all know about the media double standards. All right, let's take a look at this. And thank you for Rumble. For all these people that give in to canceling people, the whole cancel culture and censorship, political censorship, we really should give a lot of love to groups or companies that allow freedom. I mean, we really should appreciate that. And I really do appreciate Rumble for that. I know the features aren't as sophisticated as other platforms, but I'm really happy for what they do. And Substack, they're a first-rate organization. They allow free expression. We should really thank them too. And Powerchats has been great too on that. So I do think there are a lot of good people out there, or organizations, and we got to give them our love, I think. So I just wanted to throw out that because I got this rant, and Rumble's always good with that.
Coming to see me, I understand sometimes, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something, but we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of, but it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me, but white farmers are being brutally killed. And
yeah, it does make a difference to the left, though. The left, they're okay with white farmers being killed because of, they deserve it for all what they did to oppress Africans. They actually brought food to Africans and civilization. So the left is okay with whites being killed. And actually, they consider it racist. If you don't want whites to be killed, they consider that a racist thing.
Their land is being confiscated in South Africa, and the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they talk about it. That would be the only story they talk about.
Yeah, if it had been a white government and mobs of white people killing black farmers and the government not doing anything about it, yeah. In fact, the government would face sanctions. And I think we should place sanctions on South Africa and do whatever we can to evacuate the white population.
And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation.
It is. I've known people who live there. It is horrible.
Taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people to escape from that violence and come here. Yeah.
Yeah. So good for Trump. I agree, Rawhouse. It's really good that people understand that. And it's supposed to be impossible for this to happen, just because of, it's just the whites that are evil, never I'm sorry. I accidentally closed my Rumble here. Let me see if okay, there I am. Sorry about that. I closed the window, but thank you, Rawhouse, on that. I do appreciate that. Okay, let's see here. Well, we're about done for today, but okay. Yeah, let me just get some final things here. Oh, did I accidentally close my document? I know, Boomer Tech. I am going to be back tomorrow because we did so well on Daylight Dispatch, and we're going to have the RAMZPAUL show tomorrow. And let me just wrap up here. And again, I'll give you guys a praise on Streamelements. And again, I get very few donations on Streamelements, so it's not a huge to-do. It's a big to-do to me more psychologically, the state we live in and the cancel culture. And I hate these bastards. They need to get the fuck out of this country. But that's another issue. But I'll let you guys know tomorrow if I'm still on Streamelements. So it seemed weird, but who knows? All right, let me just see here. I always like someone, they said, how come you never do your dog videos anymore? And I'm like, yeah, you're kind of right about that. So I thought I'd get to do that again. Here we go. I found my notes. I do my notes and I sometimes lose them here. Here we go. We'll get a little cute dog video here. This is Nature is Amazing.
He's so cute. Oh my God, what the heck? Oh my God, hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi.
How old is Hampton?
About to be 4 months.
I take photos of dogs on the street.
Okay, yeah.
And I thought maybe I could take a couple photos for you guys and give it to you.
Yeah, sure.
It's a cute puppy.
Hey, buddy.
Aww.
You want to know if I'm safe? He's smart because he was, oh my goodness. He's like, I don't know what to say this to him. I'm getting like, hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. He's like, lick, run, lick,
Cute
run.
dog. It's a cute dog.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Oh, my goodness. Thank you for your photos. I can't wait to post them.
He loves his attention. He loves it.
What a cute dog. I'll turn it off now before they get the music on because YouTube doesn't like when I play music. So, all right. I think I got everything here. And let me just look at my Powerchats. Okay. And Streamelements, who knows if I'll still have that. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. I'll be back tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. And I hope you guys have a great day. I'll be doing a video too. Check out my video tomorrow morning on, I don't know what I'm going to do it on. I'll figure out something though. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.